Some of the biggest discoveries, they say, happen by accident. And you do realize they don't say it for nothing when you meet renowned interior designer Richa Bahl. Hello and welcome to the Interior Show with me, Aditi Singh, and joining me on the show today is Richa herself, whose approach to design has brought her as much recognition as the designs themselves.
Hi, I'm Richa Bahl. I'm an interior designer. I've been in this business for the last 6 years. I have my studio. It's called Richa Bahl Design Studios. I do a lot of commercial residences, cafes, all kinds of work, any kind of interesting boutique kind of stuff, which is up my alley. And I really enjoy spaces. I enjoy looking at new spaces. I enjoy redoing something from scratch, and it's a passion, it's something which I love. I think the sensibility which I have and I love is I like to fuse the old with the new. I love creating spaces like that. I love to do niches, I love to do jalis, and I love to do wall motifs. So these are the three things which I make sure that I incorporate it and leave it as my signature in my work, whatever I do. It's a great satisfaction to create a beautiful space, you know, to give someone and get so much love in return because you've given them something which has changed their life or upgraded them or made it so much more comfortable for them. It becomes like a very interesting relationship with people, with things, and you get to shop. I mean, what complaints? A woman loves to shop.
Hi Richa, well it's great to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to begin by asking you that, your journey has been quite fascinating itself because they say that, the best things happen to you by accident. And you were actually into advertising before until you found something and you stumbled upon interior designing. So tell us, how did the journey begin?
Yeah, I mean, I think you put it right. It just happened by accident, and I used to wake up every morning and I used to hate my job. Though I had like the best of the job. I used to travel, I was with good people, you know how buzzing advertising is. It used to be great fun, but I guess somewhere, you just realize this is not what your calling is.
Yeah.
And I used to really enjoy doing anything related to design and, interior decoration. And a lot of my friends and colleagues and everyone used to keep telling me, things like, you must do this.
Well, as we speak, we're sitting in this beautiful house of yours in Bandra, where you live with your husband, filmmaker Vikas Bahl. And, I have to say that even though it's a busy street outside, but the moment I entered, it's as peaceful as it could get. Now, the entrance was pretty, it took me aback because it was so beautiful. It had jalis and again, remnants of old times. I could see the jalis had a rustic touch to it.
Yeah, I love jalis. I love jalis. I love metal jalis. I like all kinds of jalis. I love metal jali doors. It's on my door as well.
Now, foraying further into the living room, the walls, I think this is what strikes me first. Tell us about it. It's got a very rustic feel to it, if I may say so.
Basically, when I was doing everything in the house, I didn't want plain walls.
Okay.
Only for the living area. Rest of the house, I wanted to keep it plain because there'd be lots happening. So I just wanted to give it a little bit of a earthy kind of a feel. And I wanted to add just a little bit of motifs around, not to make it too busy. So the attempt was to do something muted, which doesn't stand out, but it adds to the whole thing. We used a rag and then we just pulled it with a rag. So there is no texture as such. It's just paint. Touched or whatever, textured that way.
Let's talk about the choice of furniture. What I observe is that it's a very friendly, casual sort of a setup.
So the idea of the furniture also is that it needs to be something which kind of, again, goes with the whole base. I love the fact that my friends can come over and they can put their feet up and sit, There are lots of sitting places, and that's what I like to create in lots of places also. I like to create a lot of seating places.
Yes.
Whether it's a bar, whether it's a small seating, whether it's the living room, it needs to be a place where you can do so much.
You're a believer who thinks that, there shouldn't be any excessive lighting in the house. So what's the reason behind that?
Even the lights in my house, I kind of use the 2 lamps here. I use my chandelier on like a nice normal evening, and my outdoor lights also bring in a lot of light. So basically a lot of areas which I want highlighted get highlighted. So it's not like everything is in focus, but things like little bit of the bar, the light spreads in the entrance. So it's kind of very spot, very designed, instead of being like just big lights on and everything is lit, So it's a lot of mood lighting.
Well, Richa, after discussing this living space, I only want to understand your style better. So I think it's time for us to move ahead and explore the rest of the house.
Let's go.
So Richa, this seems to be like an entertainment room, and it turns out that it really has the right touch of quirk, and yet it's minimal in its own way. So tell me about this.
It's a space where you use for a really long time. There are times when you want to just pass out, so it's like this really comfy sofa where you can just like put your feet up and watch, lie down here. And even all this stuff again is things like which you've traveled, like things about funny little artists. Posters, Tintin, music, some posters, movie posters, a bookshelf with books, and this is again covered, taken from different parts of the world. Someone's gifted something you bought it from a flea market, you've gone abroad.
I know. Tell me about the light, something that again stands out in this room and yet is not so overbearing.
Yeah, so what I like to do in wherever spaces I can, I want to do one drama light, so that one statement, or you call it a drama light, which adds to the character of the room,
I love the way you've, again displayed those small posters, if I can call that.
Somebody gifted us this book of B-grade posters.
Okay.
and they're quite mad, all those posters.
Yeah.
So we landed up I just tore it and made it a collage and put a glass on top. So it kind of, sometimes a simple idea just works.
Sometimes, as you said, sometimes a simple idea can add a lot of character, and that's a perfect example of that. Well, Richa, with that, I definitely want to have a look at your master bedroom, because since that's a personal space, and as you very rightly said during the chat also, that your space reflects your personality and what you are. It should speak about you, right? So you want to take me around there?
Come on, let's go.
So Richa, this is the master bedroom.
Yes.
So to me it looks like everything is in right proportion, from design to the amount of furniture that should be in a bedroom, for instance. So could you take me through the design elements one by one?
Yeah, sure. So I wanted the bedroom to be fairly simple. I wanted it to be open. So I have like this really cushy bed. And the duvet, you can get really cozy in it. The bench where, when the bed cover, etc. gets moved, so the extra can go in. I wanted like a bookshelf because I love reading and I read at night a lot. A little desk where you need to write. You need to do work, you need to write some checks, there are things which I wanted to show. So that again, that little cupboard with that triangle, the golden triangle, adds that little bit of color for that passage and to the room.
Well, thank you so much, Richa, on that note, for taking me around this beautiful house of yours.
Thank you.
And with that, we will move to the next house, which you've designed for your client. Really eager to check that out. So after a short break, we'll be heading there.
Let's go.
If you were impressed with Richa's house that makes a statement of its own, then you must stay tuned, because on the other side, we walk into the actor Rajiv Khandelwal's house and see how Richa has lent it her own touch.
I always had something or the other to give, and she and Manjari, both of them would actually just completely...
I was just waiting for that.
Yeah.
When he would say this, these girls bullied me.
Completely.
That's not true.
Of course that was true. Each time I would give them an opinion, they would always rule it out.
Welcome back. You're still with me, Aditi, and a designer guest for today, Richa Bahl. And right now, we've just been very warmly received by the actor Rajiv Khandelwal in his sprawling house that's got a distinct identity. Well, courtesy Richa. Rajiv, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on our show.
I should be saying that. Thank you for coming over.
Well, our pleasure. I mean, we are more than happy to receive you. Now, first of all, I'd like to begin by asking you, how did you meet Richa?
And that goes back many years, I think. I know Richa for, I think, more than about, say, 10, 12 years.
Okay.
And I met her because I was working in a show called Left, Right, Left, and Vikas, Richa's husband, he was the business head of the channel. And we were doing a show, and we became friends. And then, of course, each visit to Vikas's house would make us meet Richa, and then we gelled very well, and then we became family.
Now, if you look back in time, is there any specific moment that you recollect and you're like, okay, we were really not on the same page regarding that, and probably share a good laugh thinking about it?
A lot of times, but she ruled. And it was her decision.
Because you trusted her.
I did, but then I always had something or the other to give, and she and Manjari, both of them would actually just completely...
I was just waiting for that.
Yeah.
When he would say this, these girls bullied me.
Completely.
That's not true.
Of course that was true. Each time I would give them an opinion, they would always rule it out, or sometimes politely, sometimes...
that's the way girls do it.
Yeah, she was a dictator completely.
And one question for you, Richa. I mean, since he's such a busy actor, now keeping his lifestyle in mind, what were those things that you were really careful about?
I think Rajiv wants to answer that question.
No,
Go ahead.
I don't think that Richa ever saw me as an actor, or thought about me as an actor. And I think, she herself, the taste that she has, takes care of me as an actor.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and because I know them so well, and like I said, even I don't want to create a house because of your profession. It's about the character.
Yeah.
I know the fact that he gets excited when little Mirchi comes out, or the fact that he really got to do a good steam, or Manjari got to enjoy her kitchen by cooking something, in a good way where she could have access to a lot of stuff and she's not restricted in her space, and could get ready for a party in a very convenient way, comfortable way. And that's how you need to look at it.
On that note, thank you so much, Rajiv, for taking some time out from your busy schedule and talking to us. And now, if you may allow us, we would actually like to explore every part of the house.
Please, all yours.
I think this is the highlight of the bedroom. Usually I've seen in a 4-poster bed, the poles or the posters are usually of equal height. But here they differ. They're actually, one is a little low heighted.
We wanted to do a nice, spacey, big bedroom, but at the same time didn't want to do very conventional stuff. And so we kind of thought that let's do something which is not going to block the view and also be, something which kind of obstructs and becomes like a long thing in between. Yeah. So we said we'll keep this long and keep this low. So you kind of get a old 4-poster bed feel. At the same time, it's not something which is kind of going to come in your view. And plus, make it slightly more another version and chilled out version of a 4-poster, and then not make it a very conventional looking 4-poster.
Yeah, that there are no curtains here. Instead, you have these windows. Now, I think it's beautifully put to use and very wisely done.
So the thing is, we didn't want to do another fabric, and then fabric also adds another color and another element into the rooms.
Okay.
So wanted to do something which is far more easier, yet something which is fun also and different.
Yeah.
So we thought of doing this because then it's easy. When you shut it becomes dark.
Yeah.
And when you want to leave it open, and because it has a double window, inside, you can always you can always leave it open like this also. So it kind of works beautifully with this also if you want a full view.
True.
So it works in many ways, and it's easy to use, it's easy to maintain, and then it's not fabric, it's not a typical curtain, and adds a lot of character to the room.
It does. And another chair, I think it serves more as a lounge chair rather you've created, but you've given it a very different touch with the design is very Indian, very traditional.
So this chair is from Good Earth. It's one of their most selling chairs.
Okay.
I think lots of people have bought this chair. And the thing is, it's a very comfortable chair.
Now, with that, Richa, I think you're going to take me to Rajiv's entertainment room
Sure.
/ his workstation.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and have a look.
Yes, come on, let's go.
Richa, I must say it's a very cozy entertainment / workspace. Also, it's very appropriately done, I believe, because an entertainment area needs to be colorful and vibrant, which it is. And Rajiv also uses this space to work from. And, functionality is definitely not compromised on.
Instead of doing like a regular wooden floor, we did the floor and we actually painted motifs on it.
Yeah.
Because the look of the house is slightly more Indianish, so we wanted to kind of stick to that. So we did this motifs, we did this bookcase.
Yeah.
Where lots of books, DVDs, things you collect from here and there. Rajiv gets a lot of gifts from his fans.
Talking about the center table, I think nothing could get more out of the box than this.
For an area like this, like a studio or a den, you don't want to do like very conventional stuff. So it kind of fit the bill and we all loved it, and that's the reason why we picked it up.
Okay. Now, I think we still have to check out the kitchen because it's a huge kitchen with a lot of out-of-the-box things experimented by you there. So let's go ahead and check that out.
Okay, come on, let me take you to the kitchen now.
Well, Richa, I've seen a lot of kitchens, but I think in this case, Rajiv and his wife are gifted with a space as huge as this because you have designed it also accordingly. I mean, kitchen in itself becomes an attraction.
So we wanted to do an open kitchen, and when you do open kitchen, you want to do a nice open kitchen, which kind of the tiles are nice, the things which you use are stand out because it's not something which is going to get hidden.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to give it a nice English countryside kind of a kitchen and give little detailing by adding these black hinges everywhere.
Yeah.
Which adds to the whole flavor of the whole country feel. We wanted to put an island. We got this tap ordered from Germany. So and this yellow then suddenly pops with the rest of the kitchen. And one, again, a country style light, which is an industrial light. So it all kinds of fall into place of a nice country kitchen home.
And I think your love for jollies is reflected in the kitchen also.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a perfect because we wanted to kind of screen that part of kitchen because whatever said and done, kitchen tends to get messy.
I believe you've modified and customized the windows.
Yes.
I think the whole look, the paint, the way you've painted it is very rustic, very true to your style.
Luckily, we could change it, so I made it again a very country style. And these windows are continue on both the levels, on both parts of the house. Then we added this, my favorite, this tomato glass again to kind of give it that double. So it's actually a double window.
Well, another distinct feather in Richa's hat that you all must know is that recently, Richa, Phantom Production House has been acknowledged as the second most beautiful office in the world. Now, we want to know, since unfortunately we couldn't go and have a look at it and cover it with you, but we want to know what is it that makes it so special?
Oh, actually, it's just been very overwhelming feeling to kind of now know that you're number 2 in the world and you've like beaten offices from New York and California and Tokyo and Turkey and so yeah, I mean, it's great. But the best thing is that the space which are created and the people who use it, they're so proud of it and they love it so much, and they're the first guys they're like the gatekeepers of the space now. They're so obsessive about it, they're so possessive about it. They love the fact that something like this has been created for them, and I think that's like the biggest victory for me. It's great. It's a great
I'd like
feeling.
to congratulate you again.
Thank you so much.
And moving ahead in this show, we're going to have a segment that's dedicated to our viewers, and you will be addressing all the viewers' queries. So I need you to get ready for that.
Sure, I'm ready. Shoot.
Well, it was indeed a very creative journey, to say the least. It's time for another breather on the show, but don't go anywhere because on the other side, Richa will tell you all that you can do with your walls.
The walls are going to be the large part of your space, And then you'll have rest of other things because it just can't be walls. There'll be lots of other things, whether it's furniture, whether it's fixtures, whether it's wardrobes. How do you kind of bring the balance between all?
Welcome back, and as the old adage goes, 4 walls don't make a home. But certainly if you add a personal touch to it, you can turn a house into a home. Well, Richa, do you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree, and I would also say it depends a lot on the kind of space you're doing. There are times when, if it's a really small space, then you have to leave the walls be. Sometimes you don't have the budget to paint the walls, so you kind of do make them incomplete or give them that kind of a treatment that, of course, they don't fall apart, but they don't cost you a moon and earth, because painting is a big job, and you need to kind of see if the walls are going to be the large part of your space, and then you'll have rest of other things because it just can't be walls. There'll be lots of other things, whether it's furniture, whether it's fixtures, whether it's wardrobes. How do you kind of bring the balance between all?
When it comes to colors, Richa, what are the factors that come into picture?
It really depends on the theme of the house. So sometimes you want to play with color, not only with the walls, but you want to play it with the other things around it. Sometimes you want to just do it with the walls, and then you need to do everything muted.
Another interesting thing that you introduced us to, what we could probably do with our walls, which we saw in your house, were the niches that you've created. Now, could you tell us more about that?
I love niches, and I love doing them as a statement, or that little bit of drama in the whole setup. And I don't like to do niches which are very straight lined. I like to make them a little more unfinished, and they're not structured.
True. Well, thank you for all those ideas, but now everything that our viewers have been wanting to hear from you, they've been really patient with us so far. So without further ado, let's address their queries.
Yeah, come on, let's resolve their problems.
So starting with the first question, Richa, Mahesh writes to us from Mumbai, and he says, I'm repainting my whole apartment. I love the color red, but it's too strong and bold. How do I introduce it in my color palette of the house?
Use red, but use it in a way that it kind of, you enjoy the color, because it's a lovely color. So whether it's some artifact you get, or a lamp you do, or you do a strip of it on your wall, but use the red well rather than putting it in a very bold manner.
Janice from New Delhi says, I want a colorful and vibrant vibe for my open kitchen. How do I treat the walls of my kitchen provided they're prone to stains and dirt?
So I would tell Janice this, that since it's your kitchen space, you please style it, because the minute you put walls, and Indian cooking is such a way that, a lot of food spillage happens. A lot of while you're cooking, stains happen because our cooking is too much spices.
It's inevitable, that has to happen.
So it's avoidable to kind of do color on your walls in your kitchen space. Tile it as much as possible. Put any color tiles you want, and they're easily wiped off.
Now, let's address Prerna's query from Kolkata. She mentions that a friend is shifting in with her after spending a decade in Mexico. She's working on the interiors of a friend's room. She wants to know what are those decor elements that she must keep in mind that reflect Mexican culture and style.
Yeah, well, firstly, I'll tell Prerna, why is your friend moving here from Mexico? But you need to have that Aztec prints which are not available in our country. I mean, you'll get them, but you'll get them at specific places which are not going to be very cheap to do. But she can play a lot of colorful cushions. She can use that. You can do lights. You can do rugs. So there are so many other ways in which you can introduce color,
Reeti writes to us on Facebook asking, I love collecting different kinds of bulbs. Now I have a collection, and how can I use that in my decor?
There needs to be some kind of a balance in how she does. Either you'd go an extreme, you hang 30 bulbs together and make it one really crazy funky space, or you use that across the space, or you use them in a very limited way, So kind of somewhere the balance needs to happen.
Okay, well, thank you for answering all those queries, Richa. And on that note, I'd like to thank you for spending your day with us. I have to say that you've given us a different perspective on interior design. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was
Thank
my
you.
pleasure, and thank you to all of you. You guys have been great, and it's been fun.
Lively, quirky, extremely entertaining, and of course, informative. That's what the last half hour with Richa was all about. With that, it's time for me to say goodbye, but you know that I'll be back next week with yet another episode of The Interior Show. Until then, goodbye and keep watching Magicbricks Now.